Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest version of Tales from Outer Space, where I take an HFY story from somewhere around the internet and read it aloud for your enjoyment. All the relevant links are down below. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube comf to help this video and channel grow. Anyways, as always, I hope that you enjoy. I would just like to thank the following Tier 5 patrons and channel members for supporting the channel: FallenAngel, BuzzKillington, Datamagnet, and Bob the Dragon. Thank you again. And now, on to the story. Story number 1. Humanity, the Untainted Warriors. Written by Perilous Platypus. We fought to preserve them, but they cannot help but seek it out, Alice whispered, her face etched with concern. They should not be upon this path. It is not time. Godrun shrugged. The humans have long been a curious species, always delving where they should not. Our efforts were always no better than an imperfect story tactic. We knew that they would come into the blight of knowledge in time. Alice pushed the mana into the scrying orb, coaxing it to a greater clarity, trying to gain an eye into those things that the humans tried to keep hidden. It was a simple matter for the fluent of her power, particularly since humanity concerned itself with matters of science rather than magic. They were woefully unprepared for incursions for those who knew the connected points. Within the orb, the great many humans were scurrying about, darting around an enormous apparatus. Their excitement was palpable, and every action they undertook tasted of anticipation. They drew close to the great discovery, the realization that would alter their understanding of the universe that they inhabited and their role in it. I still do not understand how they came to know of its existence. There is none to sense, Godrun said, rounding into the orb. He had no love for the humans, did not dote over them as Hannes did, but he had to agree to the benefits of preserving them from a war surrounding them. They were a precious asset, a species untainted by mana blight but possessing a deep well of fluence. At the proper moment, they could join the resistance, walk the connected points, and turn the tide of the conflict. They know it by its absence. They have come to realize that their reality seems empty, that a great something has been hidden. They know not what to call mana. They know not what to call the connected points that bind us together. Alice frowned. Instead, they call it by another name, dark matter. Alice shifted a view of the orb, and it instead focused on a single human female, crouched over her desk and scribbling furiously. Alice returned to his humans often, as if the creature were a favorite daughter. Do you think she'll find the truth? Godrun asked, his eyes peering intently on Alice now. I do not know, but I believe so. Orange points of mana began to pulse at her joints, slowly leaching out into surrounding skin until they became connected through the veins. I can see her mind. She sees the points. She reaches for them, but she has not found the connectors. She is a fluent. Alice nodded. A very powerful one that is capable of seeing the holes we have left. She has brought humanity far in the search for mana. Her voice faltered for a moment. I worry that she will regret her discovery once it's made. Once humanity has undone what we've done, there will be no going back. They will be seen. They will be hunted. Many will die. Godrun was silent, quietly appraising her. I see your thoughts, Godrun. You think me foolish for protecting them as I have. Still, he did not speak. Much has been sacrificed on humanity's behalf, but you will soon see that investment repaid 1,000 times over. She withdrew her mana from the orb, and the female human faded from the view. When they arrive to the conflict, they'll bring a strength of 1,000 untainted generations, pure lines of fluence, capable of great works beyond our boldest conceptions. And you believe the humans will be an ally? Why not take this power and wreak ruin with it? It has happened before. You can resist the taint as we have. They will be an ally, Alice replied curtly. How can you be so sure? Alice turned her eyes from the now dark scrying orb and stared directly at Godwin. Because I have seen it. End of story. Story number 2. By the book, written by LG Father Anthracite. I grew up here, he said, leading his friend into the building. Their air inside was cool and dry. But this is a library, said the man's companion. I know. He scanned the faces behind the counter, but there were no familiar faces. After all this time, the man thought, the staff had surely moved on with their lives. He wandered through the aisles, being tailed by his small, furry companion. He would occasionally stop and point out a book or an author he was fond of, and, on a few occasions, pulled books off the shelves and carried them in a small pile under one arm. After about 10 minutes of wandering through the rows of books, he walked to a table situated where you could see the front desk. But a quiet voice wouldn't carry all the way there. He set the stack of books on the table and sat facing the checkout counter. He motioned for his companion to sit opposite him at the table. When I was a kid, my parents both worked. I was pre-contact. The planet was still divided into separate countries. The economy was in recession, and my mother had to go back to work so that she could pay all the bills. When there was no one at home after I got home out of school, I would come here and read until one of my folks came to get me. I spent many hours, over many years, sitting here, reading. Footrank, a meter-tall rodent descendant, sat and watched his friend talk. He knew his companion was a bit chatty, even for a human, and that was simply easier to let him talk than to try steer him with questions or canned responses. The human was just a few years shy of 40 years old, pushed the pile of books off to one side, and grabbed the top one off the stack. This book is about a guy who gets caught up in a political war, and how he struggles to do what's right, even if he's surrounded by the very worst of human nature. From this, I learned about morality. The next book on the stack was lifted, and the man smiled, laughing just once as he saw the title. This one is about a girl who was raised by a group of knights. They found her as an infant while they were on a quest. She becomes a mighty hero who saves the king. From this, I learned about family. The man goes through the stack of books, one after another, explaining the plot and the lessons he took from them. Honor, courage, true strength, what duty actually means. The value of not giving up. The merits of being silly. All of this from a stack of paper and ink, his small companion said. He looked at the pile of books that made up the person he was friends with, who he trusted more than any other living being. The sun had gradually gotten lower in the sky as they sat, going through the pile. The man noticed that there had been a shift change behind the counter. Now there was a familiar face back there, checking people out and books back in. He grabbed the last book. This book is about a boy who goes on a hero's journey, a common convention in our literature. He only survived because his companions. He survived because his friends saved him, just like you did for me. The man looked at his friend with a smile. The true worth of friendship, more priceless than any treasure. But the one thing I learned here that I didn't learn from a book was what it meant to love someone. I spent so much time here, I made friends with the staff. Most of them were much older and probably retired by now. But there was a girl, a few years younger than me, who started working here as an assistant. we got to be friends, and after a while, I fell in love with her. I never told her, because by the time I realized it, I already had my orders to ship out. But now, I'm back, and I promised her that I would come back and say hello as soon as I made it back. And I promised myself that I would tell her, no matter what. Excuse me for a moment. I have to say hello to an old friend. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you do, please consider supporting the author, even by popping over and leaving a thumbs up or a nice comment, just to show your appreciation for the story. However, if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below which will help immensely. I will see you all in the next one, and until then, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Cheers.